Okay, now, this is honestly something that I would never make. Like, I honestly never thought that I would make a video like this. But basically, something scary has happened 2 days ago, apparently. And basically, we had an intruder at our house. Not inside, but outside of the house. Basically, this homeless guy, I mean, he might actually be homeless from what I can tell. He basically sneaked into our yard 3 times, and he also might have jumped over a side fence, because apparently we had 2 broken fence panels. So basically, he was going from one neighborhood's yard to another neighborhood's yard, and he was actually hiding underneath our house. And I do mean he was literally hiding underneath the house. Like, our house were right above this guy. Like, he was hiding underneath it as he was lying on the dirty, hard concrete ground. And in case you're wondering how this whole situation even happened, I'll try my best to explain, even if everything I say may come out as inaccurate. So basically, around 5 p.m. on a Monday, one of my brothers saw the intruder right outside his side of the house, and he might have saw him jump out the front gate. And then 20 minutes later, he then came back into our yard for the second time, except this time on the other side of the house. And my sister spotted the guy, and she just proceeded to shout at the guy. Like, she just basically shouted, "Hey!" at the guy. And that's when I was aware that something was happening outside my room, because I had no idea that there was an intruder outside the house at the time. Like, basically, I was just chilling in my room, be on my computer, just having my headphones on. And when I first heard my sister shout, I honestly thought that someone was actually calling out for my name, because, I mean, I don't know why the word Jack and hey would sound similar. I mean, have I gone deaf or something? So, after I heard my sister shout outside, I then followed her out into the front yard, which is where my brother and my mom were out, and basically the front gate was open for some reason. And that's when I learned from my mom that there was an intruder outside of our house. And so, some of us were just going around the house just to make sure the guy doesn't come back again, because my sister might have scared the guy away after she shot at the guy. Like, so some of us went around the house, and I was standing in front of the front door in guard just in case the guy came back or if he was around still. And while that was happening, my mom was calling the police about this intruder, and she even gave out the description of the guy based on what both of my siblings saw of that guy. White male, green shirt, brown hair, young adult, except he wasn't actually a young adult. And after my mom gave out the description of the guy, they basically told her that they aren't chasing anyone based off the description that she gave them, unless if he was actually stealing anything. And they also told her to file an online report about this whole situation. So, after we went outside for a few minutes, we all went back inside the house since we thought the guy might be gone by now. And afterwards, we let the dog outside to the front yard, because apparently she was inside the house when the intruder first came into our yard. So we let her out as the guard dog, just in case if the guy came back again, while my mom was too busy filling out an online report. And there was that one moment where we might have heard the dog barking, and at first we all thought that the guy might have came back, so some of us had to go outside to the front yard while carrying some weapons just to arm ourselves. Basically, I was just holding a broom, and it turns out our dog was actually just barking at a car that was driving by. Yeah. So after that, we let the dog back inside, we all had some dinner, and after I had my dinner, I could have sworn I might have heard someone talking right outside my window. And I honestly couldn't tell if that was actually the intruder or if it was someone else. I mean, looking back on it now, it might not actually be the intruder since it definitely sounded like a female, so I assume it was definitely one of the neighbors. But then later on that night, somewhere around 9 p.m., as I was chilling in my room, that's when I heard someone coughing right outside my window. And that sent chills right down my spine, because I know that was definitely close by when I heard. Like, my windows were definitely right behind these drapes right here, and I definitely heard it from there. So me and my mom went outside the front yard as we were both armed and ready to confront the guy. Once again, I was holding a broom while my mom was holding a shovel, and we even brought the dog outside just in case. So we all went around the right side of the house because my sister said she might have heard the guy somewhere around there. So after we went down there, that's when we saw the intruder as he was crawling himself out of the house because once again he was hiding underneath the house when he came back for the third time. And as we all saw the guy crawling out of the house, that's when my mom proceeded to shout at the guy as she basically shouted at him, "Get out of our property!" And the guy was so apologetic as he was crawling out of the house as he was all like, "I'm sorry, I just had to get my bag." As he basically just sounded guilty after getting caught hiding underneath our house. But I didn't care about that, and neither my mom did, as she continued to proceed to shout at the guy, just telling him to get out of our yard. And the guy didn't hesitate to stick around for much longer, as we then proceeded to chase him around the house. And surprisingly, the dog actually stayed quiet the whole time, because you would think that the dog would actually just bark at the guy when he was crawling out of the house. But no, as we were chasing him around the house, she actually stayed quiet the whole time. She didn't actually make a noise, she just followed us like it was nothing as she was just going around the house like la 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 la. Which is actually kind of surprising since given that there were moments where she would just bark at anyone who walks by outside the front fence. Especially moments where she would just bark at the mailman, you know, the type of thing that old dogs do. In case you're wondering what breed our dog is, she's actually a black Labrador and she's only 14 years old. So yeah. She's an elder dog. So as we chased the guy around the house, and right as he got to the front yard, and right as he got to the front gate, my mom just shouted at the guy, "Don't you ever come back!" And so the guy escaped from our front yard as he went out the front gate, as he immediately just bolted for it, like he was immediately running for his life after he escaped our front yard. And as my mom went outside the front gate and as she saw the guy running into the streets, she just shouted at him, "Keep running!" And with that, the worst of it was over. And it was actually pretty scary too because I honestly thought that we were going to get robbed, especially given this type of stuff never happened to us once before. Especially given that we live in a neighborhood where we often hear sirens every now and then. I mean, at least for the most part, he didn't just invade our house or anything like that. At least he didn't actually stole anything from us. Although my sister did mention that she might have heard the guy saying that he was looking for his long-lost nephew or something like that. I don't know. But that doesn't give you the right to invade someone's property. Because if you're committed to just sneak into someone's property all while hiding underneath their house, then you're basically going to have a problem. End of story. So yeah, once again, pretty scary moment. And even after the guy actually left, my heart was still racing after all that. Hell, even just thinking about it's enough to make my heart race. Hell, it was also difficult for us to sleep that night since some of us had to get up just to take turns just to make sure the guy doesn't come back again. But for the most part, the guy is gone now, so hopefully we don't have to deal with him again. However, my mom did notice that some of the doors of the house were unlocked, so the guy would have easily just made his way into the house and just proceeded to steal anything from us, which once again that didn't happen, and thankfully the guy didn't actually just invade our house and stole anything. However, my mom also noticed that we were also missing a set of keys. Except this wasn't actually the same day as we had an intruder outside our house. In fact, my mom already noticed that there was a set of keys missing a couple of days ago, as in before the intruder came to our yard. So the next morning, as in yesterday morning, we went back to the same spot where the guy crawled himself out of the house, and basically what we found underneath the house was a couple of stuff that he left behind, so my mom had to crawl underneath the house just so she could pull out some of the stuff that he left behind. And turns out what he left behind was his bag, which he said he came back just to get, and inside the bag was a camera, binoculars, and a marker. And I honestly don't know why he would just carry those stuff around. I mean, I'm assuming those are definitely his belongings, but I don't know why a homeless guy would just keep those around. And frankly, I don't even want to know why he carried those stuff around. Maybe he might be a pervert or something? I don't know. But that wasn't all that the guy left behind. He also left behind his phone, a pair of socks, and a cigarette lighter. So for the most part, he didn't actually steal any keys from us, especially since it was unlikely that he actually stole any keys from us, since once again, he didn't came into our house. In fact, there was no evidence of him coming into our house and just stealing anything from us. So my mom had to drop off all the evidence to the police station, and for what I can gather, unfortunately they didn't give her a police report number yet. Instead, all she got was just the police report link, as in a link to the online report. So after my mom went home, she basically had to call the locksmith just to change all the locks in the house, since given that we're missing a set of keys in the house, especially since we searched all over the house just to find where the missing keys are, and unfortunately had no luck on finding them. So the locksmith came over yesterday just to change all the locks in our house, and basically they made it so that all the locks in the house are basically the same. And they even give us a set of 5 keys which are all the same, because basically we have 5 people in the house, so that way each door in the house can be opened using just each of those 5 keys that everyone has. So yeah, you could say we all got our own keys, so at least that counts for something. Especially if one of us want to go out somewhere, we could just use our own keys just to walk the front door ourselves, instead of having someone to just walk it for you on your way out. But unfortunately for Mom, it wasn't cheap just to get those locks replaced. And yeah, that was basically pretty much it actually. I mean, I don't think there's much to add after all of that, so yeah, once again, pretty scary situation, and hopefully that doesn't happen to us ever again. Hopefully that guy doesn't come back here ever again just to pick up his belongings, since my mom already took them to the police station, so if he wants his belongings back, he's going to have to get them there. So yeah, here's the important lesson that we've all learned. Keep your doors locked. Keep all of your belongings safe. Don't invade someone's private property. And don't hide underneath their house. Because if I do catch you in our yard, and if I catch you underneath our house, you're gonna be very, very sorry. So yeah, once again, keep all your doors locked. Keep all of your belongings safe with you. Make sure no one invades your yard. And most importantly, stay safe. And with that concludes our daily broadcast. So stay safe everyone, and goodbye.